welcome to Rose City, the After Show, the podcast where we dive into the world of the popular novel Rose City by author Corenna Khieu. In each episode, we will be discussing a different aspect of the book, from the complex characters to the intricate plot twists and everything in between. Make sure to check out Rose City on Kindle Vella to stay up to date as we explore unique perspectives and insights on the story. So today we're going to do something a little different. To start the show off, I wanted to pull a card from the card game called Tonight's Conversation, Date Night Edition. It's a question deck that involves deep, stimulating, tantalizing conversation. So rather if you're looking to test the capability of a potential partner, strengthen the bond of an existing relationship, or spice up the game night, check these cards out. We will provide a link in the description below. So the card that we're going to be pulling from this deck is called What is Your View on Gender Roles in a Relationship, Ladies? Although nobody want to take that, huh? You guys want me to go first, or what y'all want to do?
You go first.
Okay. All right. I always have to be extra. So, do gender roles exist in relationships? Depends. Not in my house. So, I don't believe in gender roles. I believe that two people in a relationship should sit down and decide what they want to do for certain things and kind of talk about that. So I talked to my girls already about this question. I don't like cleaning my shower. I don't like doing it. I don't. The way my shower is set up, it has two seats, one on each side. So, I guess you want to take a shower and talk to each other, let's do it, right? So it's just big. And then I don't know what it is about when I clean the shower, I get really OCD. So it takes me like 45 minutes to an hour because I'm scrubbing the same areas over and over. So what I decided was, hey T, why don't you clean the shower? I will, sweep, mop the floors, clean the toilet, wipe down the counters, organize all of my makeup and hair stuff everywhere, and wipe down the counters and mirror. And he's good with it because he goes in there and he cleans the shower out in 10 minutes. And it looks like, I don't understand. I spent an hour doing what you just did in 10 minutes, and it's frustrating, right? But again, it's a conversation. So my husband does the grocery shopping for our house, because he was like, you just be spending too much. And he's right. I get in there, get a little happy with that, debit card, swipe. So he does the grocery shopping. He does, every Sunday he goes and he buys the cleaning supplies, all the food, the cat food, all of that litter. He does that. Okay. But like garbage and stuff, he's not a garbage person. He knows it needs to be taken out. But for him, it's like, it's not overflowing. It's not on the floor, right? So I'm like, that garbage is really starting to bother me. So instead of me complaining and pushing him, be like, you take the garbage out. It's a man's job. I handle the garbage and I take it out. And I usually put it out there on the, by the front, whatever, out there on the street. Okay. I don't have a problem with that. I grew up cutting grass. I grew up, hand washing cars. I grew up painting. I grew up doing a lot of stuff because in our household, my dad had gender roles and all that type of stuff. However, he didn't participate in anything. He was like a dictator. So it was like, you guys get out and do this. He was always pointing at everybody else. And so me and my sister was always super hardworking, and we didn't really put up any real resistance where my brothers argued and fought about everything. We got forced to do a lot of stuff that probably my brothers should have done. So I don't really understand this notion of like men have to do this and women have to do that. What you need to do, stay up off them foolish podcasts. It's going to get you and your girl broken up, telling people what they have to do. Me and my husband, we both cook. And I say I'm a pretty dope cook, but that man, I'm like, sir, I don't know if you missed your calling, like culinary art, type of person. Like he's just extremely talented and gifted when it comes to cooking. And so he likes to cook, and he gets in that kitchen and he burns, baby. He burns. And I'm okay with that. So we'll talk and be like, okay, I'm gonna cook Monday, Tuesday. And he's like, okay, I'll get Wednesday, Thursday. And usually Friday we'll order takeout or something like that. But we work it out. So no, for me, gender roles is not something I'm like, I believe that the woman should keep the house. We both clean up this. Okay. We got these 3 kids in here helping to tear up stuff. And now we have animals who like to knock things over. I love my babies, but we work together. It's communication. If they're, like for instance, that garage has to be really badly messed up for T to even be like, I'm embarrassed, and for me, I'm like, it's kind of dusty, got some cobwebs out here, a little junky, I don't have a problem. I get on the phone with my girls or turn on some music and I clean the garage out and get all my exercise equipment all, situated, and I feel good about my life, and it's not like, I know some people are thinking, dang, what her husband do? She out there washing cars and pulling weeds, and like, does he do anything? He does plenty, Again, it's a conversation because I'm not going to be over here in a relationship by myself doing all this work. We're not doing that because he can go. What you got to say, ladies?
Well, I definitely think gender roles is a big thing, in society. And we're taught, from a very early age that women, females are supposed to do certain things in relationships and men are supposed to do certain things in relationships. And I know in my earlier years when I was in relationship with other people, I took on that female role of cooking, cleaning, keeping the house and the children. And then the man worked outside the house, came home, put his feet up, and didn't do anything. And I didn't see that as a problem because that's what I thought how it was supposed to be, But as time went on, you just get worn out, and then you don't understand when you ask for help. Oh no, you do that because you're a woman, that's your job, And I just did not like being treated that way, and so in my current relationship, that's definitely a big thing that I wanted to change. I didn't want to be treated a certain way because I was a woman. I don't want to be talked down to or disrespected or, oh, where's my food at? Because I'm a woman, like I was thinking about early in my relationship with my husband. I remember one time he had got a little bit frustrated with me because I didn't make him any lunch. And so I was like, what? And so he was like, well, I was expecting lunch. And so I was just like, oh, well, what's wrong with your hands? Like, why can't you? And I asked him, I was like, well, what would you do if we weren't together? And he was like, well, I would make me something to eat. And I was like, what did make you something to eat? Like, I'm not your mom. Like, and I don't mind making it, but I don't want to be treated like I have to do something, because, and so that kind of segued into us having that conversation and setting that tone of, what's going to be expected in the relationship and how I don't want to be treated and how I won't treat him, a certain way either because he's a man. We do everything together, cook, clean, and I even teach my children, I have a daughter and I have boys, but I teach teamwork. We're all a team. We're all working together. It takes everyone in this house to maintain the house, to work together. Not somebody has to do this because, you're a girl. Somebody has to do this because you're a boy. I don't want my children to grow up with that mentality. So I definitely see that changing in the world and I'm happy it's changing, but it's still a huge thing that I don't want to say a huge problem because if it works for you, it works for you. It's just not something that worked for me, so that's my thoughts on that.
I don't believe in gender roles. Sort of like you guys say, just because you're a woman, you wash the dishes and cook dinner and do all that. I believe, just like Corenna and Kyrie is saying, you guys are a team, so you both do what is needed for the welfare of the house. Um, my personal experience, I took on all roles of the house. All my ex had to worry about was going to work. That was it. And I was absolutely miserable. I was exhausted at the end of the day. It didn't feel like it was a team. I don't know. I didn't find it rewarding. Everybody's, oh, to have children and to do this. I didn't find it rewarding. I was just like, oh my gosh, I hope I could get up tomorrow morning. So yeah, and if I were to pursue another relationship, it would definitely be 50-50. Okay, if the dishes need to be done and for some reason I can't do them, I'm not the only one eating here. So yeah. And same thing. If I see that a light bulb needs to be changed, it's not gonna be, oh honey, the light's been out for a week. No, I'm gonna go grab a light bulb and go change. It's we both will put into the household. and not just he does things because he's him, and I do things because I'm a woman. I can make dinner, but I can also cut grass. Like whatever needs to be done, I think we're both adults. These are our children. This is our household. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, and you're so completely and totally right that like me and my husband have this thing where it's like, if I cook dinner, then you wash the dishes and you clean up because I don't think that it's right for a person to have to cook this meal and then clean up everything and then everybody's like, "Well, thank you, that was really good." And I remember as a kid, my mom did everything. And there would be times where it's like we were all be sitting at the table eating and she's cleaning up. She's not even having a moment to be like, let me enjoy my food. You got 5 kids that you didn't cook for and a husband, and you can't come to the table and sit down because you know that nobody's going to clean up anything. It was just, she didn't say anything, but I don't think she was happy either. And so that's the beauty that I think about women speaking up for themselves now and saying, I know that, maybe what your grandmother did or what your mom did or what your great grandma did, that was a beautiful thing for you to look back and see that. I don't want to be that because women nowadays are having to work, and they're not just at home. And even if you are at home, still a lot of work to take care of. So I'm just glad women are standing up and saying, hey, we all live here together. And if you see something that needs to be taken care of, I'm not blind. You're not blind. Let's get it together. All right, folks. All right, ladies, are you ready? Are you ladies ready? Okay, this is speed dating part 2. Where we last left off at was Malia was sitting at the table, and a voice comes up from behind her. This voice speaks to her, and Malia is just freaking out. She's like, "Oh God, no, 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 not this again." She was having a whole conniption, and now we find out who this individual was who approached Malia. Were you guys shocked at who approached Malia, or were you like, nah, I figured.
When I first, the very first time, I was shocked. I did not expect Mike's raggedy tail to be there. When the very first time I read it, I thought it was Chan, but I was let down when it was Mike. Yeah. So, what'd you think, Alicia, the first time you read it?
Oh, I knew it was Mike because it left on the it left on the cliffhanger where she was like, "Oh God, no, no, no!" And I knew if it was Chan, I mean, she'd have been like, "Oh, yes, finally," So when it said, "Oh no, no, no," I said, "Watch it be Mike's toxic butt." And then 3 sentences in, I was like, "Mm-hmm, I knew it." He just, mm-mm.
Yeah, I didn't think I thought it was Chan because she was like embarrassed. Like she didn't want Chan to see her at speed dating after we just had this amazing time. So that's why I was like, oh God, like she's like, oh,
Oh.
kind of like, oh no.
Well,
That's yeah, that's a good one
that
too. I didn't even
makes
think about that.
sense. But I
Yeah.
know she was embarrassed. She would be even more embarrassed because she acted like she was with Chan. And so she, having Mike see her all of a sudden, like, oh, okay, see, I knew it. And yeah, um, yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who have not read this chapter, chapter 14, which is speed dating part 2, Malia got pulled out to go to speed dating with her best friend Eva. This is an elite type of speed date type of thing for young business professionals in the Portland area. She's there. She's having a great time. Um, she's having a good time, but then she's kind of not having a good time because, it's just guy after guy coming to the table. And she's like, I'm kind of ready to just get out of here and like just pick somebody. Let's go to a bar and let's talk or have dinner. Like, this is kind of, after the third round, it was like, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm good. Thanks. Here comes Mike. And baby, when I say Mike came through with all levels of toxicity, I mean, he didn't disappoint. I wrote this scene years ago. Okay. I don't read this book like, let me go back in and read some Rose City. I don't because I'm constantly working on like book number two, or and I have other books that I'm working on, right? And other things, and I have a job too, and I have children. So I when I went back and I read this part, I was just flabbergasted. I was just so appalled. Like he came through like a whole animal. Mike was such a beast. And I was like, who talks to a human being the way that you're talking to? Like, no wonder why she don't want you, bruh. You are just toxic. And we're gonna get into later on to one of the questions, kind of like, who is Mike? Where did this character come from? We'll get to that. I don't want to get to it now, but it's one of the questions coming up. But Mike was a whole vicious savage. The way he talked to that girl, I was just like, I mean, it was like no wonder she didn't just take her nails and dig him in his eye. Like, who are you talking to, bruh? I'm about to catch all type of charges up in here. You okay? Somebody else want to say something because I was triggered.
Yeah, girl. Malia be staying around too much for me. Like, I don't know how she didn't just leave. I would have walked off like, he ain't talking to me. Would have been out the exit door. Eva, I caught an Uber. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
because I just couldn't.
I mean, what was one thing that Mike said that you were just like, you know, do you remember anything that he said from there that just really rubbed you? I mean, he called her bitter. He called her cold hearted. He told her, no wonder why you can't find a man. And I'm like, clutches pearls, because I'm like, you think that you did this. You think that you have some form of power over me, that I'm just so in love with you, Mike, that I can't get over you. And because you messed me over 5 years ago, and now you want to come back, act like we friends and bygones is bygones. And I'm like, I don't like you no more. I'm bitter. I'm mean. I'm a savage. I don't like, he was trying to gaslight her. And that was the problem. He wasn't taking zero responsibility for, I really did you dirty. And it's, shocking to me that you're even sitting at this table talking to me. And let's talk about that too. He revealed to her during this whole situation that it was one of his friends who was organizing this event, saw Malia's name on the registry and was like, yo, girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, she gonna be out there, you know what I'm saying, 7:30, you know what I mean? Come show up, come show up. So he was like, all right, I'm coming through. And he came through and he talked all type of trash. At one point, he laughed at her. He accused her of hiring Chan as some type of actor to make him mad. He wouldn't he wouldn't, even take responsibility when she was like, okay, so you was coming at me real tough. Like you was coming at me, like we supposed to be together and all this type of stuff. And then I saw you hugged up on some big booty chick in the club, kissing up on her. And then he started, oh, you saying that beat don't mean nothing to me. I mean, just, oh, I did it to make you jealous. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Mike just thought Malia was in the corner somewhere doing something and wasn't going to see him. And he kind of had like this feeling of like, I'm that guy though. I do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And what's she gonna do? Who gonna check me, boo? Like that was the energy that Mike was really giving. So yeah, he showed up. He was like, yeah, I was upset. I saw you leave with that guy. I assumed something happened, but somebody let me know. So again, this little birdie who keeps showing up talking has let him know, oh no, they're not dating. She just met him that night. And so it wasn't even like that. So now he's feeling like, oh, thank God. I really thought that she had found somebody else. I'm about to reclaim my platter.
I was saying, I think everything Mike said rubbed me the wrong way.
Oh, baby.
I the name Mike rubs me the wrong way. I think the most shocking part was when he grabbed her.
He grabbed her tough too. Like it wasn't just like, it was like, oh, break your arm type of thing. Like he was a whole animal with it. Like he got problems.
And it's like you can say everything you want to say, but when you reach out and touch somebody, you're crossing the line.
Honey, she went in on him. And at one point, Malia was like, you know what? Okay, he didn't talk crazy to me. And she had to let him know, thank you. Thank you for killing me. And I've actually had to say that to a couple people when they were like, you're changed. And you're not the same person anymore. And I'm like, yay, I like that. I like this new person. I like this savage I've turned into, because when you're nice to people, they abuse you. Okay. Right. We ain't talking about relationships. You're talking about just raggedy friends. When you are a kind-hearted person, people want to abuse you. So guess what? That person that you're accustomed to abusing, she's dead. and now the phoenix is rosing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we here now, baby. We in these streets. You about to get it. Blah. No, just wait. Edit that part.
Blah, 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 blah. And that's
That's so
okay.
true. That's so true. And I know that I said that after my last relationship.
Really?
I had to kill Monica off because she was so passive and weak. And, she lets everybody walk over her. She doesn't speak up for herself. And, she lets everybody get away with everything because she wants to be so forgiving and so loving. Oh, it's okay. They won't do it again. And I just had to shut her down. Like, this relationship ain't going to work, And so I had to, full on go into my Kyrie persona because that's the business side. I take charge. I stand up and I speak up, and so I kind of had to. I've made peace and balance with Monica, so I'm good now. But I had to go there, at one point in my life and just shut her down and be like, sis, we cannot function this way and allow people to treat us this way. It's
Nah,
not
we're not
okay.
doing that no more.
I kind of see it slightly like along the same lines, but a little different. As in the bad bitches that we were deep down finally came out. Because it took a whole lot of pushing and a whole lot of pain and a whole lot of
Yeah, I
stuff
think it was
to where
definitely
we
there.
were like, it's like it's there, and then we put on this nice person shell, be nice,
It
be a
was
nice
suppressed.
respectful girl. Yeah,
Mhm.
and it didn't work for us. It was like, okay, being nice, that's not gonna work. So here's Lily. Hi, let me reintroduce myself.
Mhm.
Properly this time. So
Properly.
that's what I think that's what it was. I think that's why we were able to pull out of
Right.
our past relationships and stuff like that, and not just relationships, just personality, just the way we have to deal with people. I'm
Mhm.
always patting Corinna on the back, and I'm like, girl, I'm just loving this. I'm loving this
Mhm.
new you. I'm loving this, because Corinna used to let folk walk all over her, and she'll cuss them out. But then,
Mhm.
after not even an apology,
They said they were
she'll
sorry or
just
they
start
came
talking.
back.
Yeah. And before you know it, everybody's all giddy again. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, keep the mouth shut, Lily. Cause you know me, I'm always like, now, Karina. So I, and even the stuff I've had to push through, stuff Curia's had to push through. And now we're like, okay, I wish
Try
you
it if you
would.
want to. Mhm.
Yeah. We
Try it if
all
you
did the nice church girl thing, and
want.
it didn't serve us.
You know
So,
why it didn't serve us? Because being taught to be nice and being overly forgiving didn't teach us how to stand up for ourselves and how to advocate and say, hey,
right.
look, Rick, Sally, whoever, that's not going to work the way that you're talking to me right now. Because again, like my cousin was saying, I've always been a nice person and I kind of let people just do too much. And then they would do one more thing, and then it was just like this an explosion. And then people are like, you got a multiple personality disorder. No, it's called I have allowed your BS to push me, and now I don't care who sees how evil this is about to get. Like, why? So now I don't have to allow you to push me to that point because it's right up top. It's not hiding in the
Hmm.
bucket. Try it if you want to. You're gonna get cut off. And if you keep pushing, you'll find out what happens.
Ooh, child. You scared me. Mm.
You're like, oh Jesus, no. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's always so funny when I hear that because you've always just been such a strong and fierce, amazing person ever since the first time I met you. Like when we were in that restaurant, and I was just like, "She's so awesome," So, it's just always like,
I thought you
"Wow."
were talking about Applebee's. I don't know if you remember that. It was my bridal thing that we had, and those guys were just being total savages. And they was like, "Oh, look at her, and blah, blah. And I was like, "Sir, don't talk to my friend like that." Yeah, it was a lot.
No, I don't remember that. I was talking about our first time we
Yes,
met.
they
I
were.
know
Was
you're
out
talking about.
there.
You
I
were
think we
there
were
too, but they were just acting like, Monica always had like just derriere, honey. She had it. You know what I'm saying? Mine has formed over the years through, I don't know, having kids and stuff like that, and gaining some weight and doing some squats with like really heavy weights. It's done something for the gluteus maximus. But for her, she already had a wagon back there just you know? And she walked past these people and they were like, woo! I mean, they set the restaurant on fire. And it was like, we tried to ignore them. And then we had to walk back past them again for the from the bathroom. And they were just going, and she was just looking like, oh my God, like she was trying not to be offended, like trying to laugh. You know how women we do like that little nervous, strange laugh thing. And I looked at I said, sir, you right there in the red shirt, you don't talk to a woman like that. He was like, oh. I said, I know you with your little friends and stuff like that. And y'all like, oh, they got body. And look at that one right there in them white pants. Sir, do you think she's beautiful? He was like, yeah, I think she's beautiful. I said, would you date her? Yeah, I would date her. I said, so do you think that this woman would want to date you? You didn't catcalled her. You didn't talked about her booty and what you would do. Do you think she would actually give you the time of day and you disrespected her? Well, no. Exactly. Well, let me properly apologize. I said, sorry, sir. We got to go back to our table. And we went and sat back down. You don't talk to people that way. I had to get with his program. It was a long time ago.